If there's one thing the amazing world of Gumball has shown us, it's the wildest and strangest characters in animation history. But did you know that this show also has some of the smartest characters ever created? This is exactly the case for the brightest mind in Elmore, Aeneas. The little pink bunny and Gumball's baby sister is only 4 years old, yet she has pulled off things that are extremely complex, and sometimes even scary. From the time she was a baby, she already showed she was way ahead of the curve, making up elaborate plans to get rid of her older brothers, Gumball and Darwin, whenever they annoyed her. After all, she really wanted to be an only child. While other kids her age were barely learning to speak, Aeneas was still in diapers, but already had advanced logical reasoning, could manipulate situations in her favor, and plan things with perfect precision. Luckily, she eventually dropped the idea of getting rid of Gumball and Darwin and learned to accept and love them. But without a doubt, one of the most memorable examples of her genius comes in the episode The Remote, when she creates a detailed strategy to take back the TV remote. The plan included splitting tasks between her brothers, predicting their reactions, and setting up clever traps to make sure nothing went off script. Even though Gumball and Darwin often messed things up, Aeneas' mind proved capable of designing the entire operation step by step, almost like a professional strategist. This episode makes it crystal clear that her intelligence far surpasses not only other kids, but even most adults around her. To give you an idea, even though she's the youngest in the family, Aeneas studies in an advanced grade, ahead of her older brothers. This shows that she doesn't just have a super high IQ. She's also one of the few voices of reason in the Watterson family, balancing out the constant chaos caused by Gumball and Darwin. Episode after episode, she proves that her brilliance is a key part of the show's dynamic. But despite all that, there's still at least one character who's even smarter than Aeneas, and others who have completely different kinds of intelligence. Get ready, because your mind is about to be blown. More recently, in Season 7, we were introduced to a brand new character named Ori, nothing less than a psychotic, obsessive virtual assistant who wanted Nicole's attention all to herself. Since she was practically the embodiment of artificial intelligence, Ori could perform insanely complex calculations in milliseconds and come up with efficient strategies in no time, like when she decided to eliminate the entire Watterson family, so Nicole would focus only on her. In the end, she figured it might be better to try finding friends outside Earth, so she uploaded herself into an orbital satellite in hopes of meeting new life forms and making friends with them. Ori was so intelligent that it was incredibly hard to escape her plans. And just so you know, she's not the only non-biological being on our list. Billy is one of the most fascinating characters in the amazing world of Gumball when it comes to intelligence. He appears several times in the series alongside his mom, always looking down on people they consider inferior in every way, including intelligence. In The Egg, Billy and his mom were invited by Nicole to have lunch at the Wattersons' house. He and Aeneas seemed to hit it off, and even went on a little adventure around town while Felicity and Nicole argued. By the end of the episode, it's revealed that Billy and Aeneas had become very close friends and even thought they were in love. But the friendship broke apart when Billy confessed he didn't like Daisy the donkey. So here we have a 4-year-old boy who talks like he has 3 PhDs in philosophy, quantum physics, and global economics. With a vocabulary full of complicated words and a super serious attitude, Billy loves making it seem like he's light years ahead of other kids. While his classmates play with toys or laugh at silly stuff, he prefers to use pretentious language and act like he's the only genius around. In other words, even though Billy does have an above-average IQ, he still has a lot to learn when it comes to winning someone's heart. He may not be smarter than Aeneas, but that doesn't mean he isn't acing every test at school. Alan is one of the most fascinating characters in Gumball because his intelligence doesn't lie in calculations or elaborate plans, but in emotional control. Being a balloon, he literally represents something that could easily be fragile and explosive, but instead he proves to be incredibly balanced. He manages to stay calm even in the most absurd situations, like when Gumball tries every possible way to make him lose his patience, going as far as selling Alan's parents to be used at a birthday party. Even in the face of that insane stunt, Alan didn't explode, literally or emotionally, showing that his serenity is almost unshakable. And if that weren't enough, Alan is also dating Carmen, who's not just any girl. She's a cactus, meaning she's literally full of thorns and not the easiest to handle. But Alan shows that with self-control, anything is possible, and that's why he manages to keep their relationship working. All that's left for Gumball is his good old jealousy, which, by the way, is totally wrong. Before we continue with the list, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the next videos about bizarre cartoon facts. Moving on with our list, let's talk about Miss Simian, who is basically one of the biggest Jurassic brains in the amazing world of Gumball. In the episode The Photo, we find out that she has lived for thousands of years, which means her intelligence comes from a very unique type: experience. She's been through everything. Literally, she saw empires rise and fall, witnessed the evolution of humanity, and still stands strong teaching classes at Elmore Junior High. Ironically though, despite having such a massive past, she still lives in a cave, which makes the whole situation even funnier. It's like a prehistoric creature mastering modern knowledge without ever letting go of her roots. But you can't talk about Miss Simian without mentioning her job. She's a biology teacher. Just teaching at that crazy school would already require an above-average IQ. But she goes way beyond that. She carries thousands of years of lived experience, making her practically a walking encyclopedia. On top of that, we can say she has taught pretty much every resident of Elmore at some point, since she's older than everyone else. That's why, even with her grumpy face and cranky attitude, Miss Simeon is one of the most respectable characters in the show, proving that intelligence can also mean survival. If you don't remember, Bobbert is a sleek white robot with pincers instead of hands and a loudspeaker instead of a mouth. He is extremely strict and analytical, calculating everything he observes into a mathematical formula. Although he's literally a genius for being a sentient machine, Bobbert is known for envying his biological classmates, and at least once, going full Pinocchio style, he tried to become a real boy. That's when he used his intelligence to steal Gumball's identity, steal his family and his best friend, get kissed on the cheek by Penny, and even agree to go on a date with her. In fact, his intelligence is so great that it can become dangerous, like when he almost wiped out all of humanity in the Void, where he transforms into a massive robot he calls Combat Mode. In that mode, Bobbert's arms turn into giant Gatling guns, rocket launchers sprout from his shoulders, his legs bulk up, and a cannon opens right in the middle of his chest. Because of his high-level spatial intelligence but lack of emotional intelligence, Bobbert is almost unfairly labeled as a nerd by his classmates and is also a member of the Rejects Club. Bob is one of the characters who shocked fans the most in the amazing world of Gumball when it comes to intelligence. Before disappearing into the Void, he was just a weird goofball that nobody took seriously. But after being trapped there, he came back completely different, a full-on evil genius. This transformation turned Bob from a bland background character into one of Elmore's most dangerous and calculating villains. His wicked smarts are obvious when he disguises himself as Principal Evil, fooling everyone with a carefully crafted plot to take over the school. It was a plan full of manipulation and strategy, something the old Bob would have never even dreamed of pulling off. Another moment that really shows this dark transformation was when he kidnapped Banana Joe's mom, proving he was willing to use his brain to strike at the weakest points of other characters. Every move he made after the Void was marked by this new style, thinking coldly, planning carefully, and turning the smallest detail into an advantage. But here's the twist. Even though he was defined by his rage against Gumball, in the very end of Season 6, right before the show went on a 7-year break, we learned that his disguise actually had a purpose: to save everyone in Elmore. Why did he want that? The show hasn't revealed the reason yet, but we'll find out soon enough. Depending on when you're watching this video, you might already have the answer. To wrap up our list with a bang, let's talk about the most unexpectedly brilliant creature in all of Elmore, the classroom guinea pig, Chris Morris. This semi-retired little guinea pig is one of the funniest and most unexpected examples of intelligence in the amazing world of Gumball. At first glance, he's just the science class pet, a character who should be defenseless and unimportant. But in the episode, The Guinea Pigs, Chris proves the opposite. He manages to escape from Gumball and Darwin even though they tried absolutely everything to recapture him. Trap after trap, crazy plan after crazy plan, Chris always found a way to slip away, showing not only agility but also a sharp dose of cleverness. What makes it even more hilarious is that after all this wild chase, Chris Morris didn't just settle for being a runaway rodent. He took a massive leap and actually ran as a candidate in Elmore Junior High's student election. That move showed that his smarts went far beyond just dodging trouble. He knew how to use his sudden fame and turn it into political capital. From a simple lab pet to an actual contender in a school election, Chris proved he could turn opportunity and strategy into real power. In the end, Chris is living proof that in Elmore, even the tiniest guinea pig can turn out to have razor-sharp brains. From a so-called helpless pet to a political candidate, his journey shows a type of quick, opportunistic intelligence that puts him among the most surprising characters in the entire show. That's the end of our list, and if you thought this one was wild, just wait until you see the next video. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. In the meantime, go ahead and click on either of these two videos popping up on your screen right now.